Welcome everybody to the Telia Esports Series Finland. My name is Trajan and I'm joined by Exodus today on the cast to cover Nyyrikki versus Bluewhites. It's losers final time. We're down to the last three. It is all to play for now.
It is all to play for. Not only do you get a chance to play in that final in the Telia Esports Series, but you can also advance to the Telia Masters if you get into that final. So this match is so important for both of these teams.
It really, really is, and it's pretty tough to find a difference between them. Honestly, they were 1-1 during the regular season, 2-1 earlier in the bracket. Both of these teams are very closely matched. They've got Def Fox waiting in the grand finals, but honestly, these top three teams that we have seem to have a bit of a rock paper scissors going on here. Def Fox beats Nyyrikki, Nyyrikki beats Bluewhites, Bluewhites beats Def Fox.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how this actually plays out. Most likely because Dev Fox advancing to the finals. I don't want to say shocked, that's maybe a bit too hard, but it was definitely a surprise for a lot of people watching the Telia Esports Series.
Yeah, it's Def Fox has always traditionally sat right below Nyyrikki there. Nyyrikki somewhat kind of the heir apparent to the Finnish crown after Kova promoted up to the NLC, of course. But, rather than the cut and dry season victory that maybe some would have expected for Nyyrikki, they're languishing in the losers bracket now, and they were swiftly dispatched by Def Fox. Now they've got to sharpen up and really prove that they deserve the recognition that we would give them.
Yeah, the thing is, what I like about Nyyrikki and Bluewhites is they do have their own style. I want to say, obviously, they adhere to the meta because it's so strong. I mean, look at
Mhm.
Zinzao, look at Gwen, Viego, Ziggs, stuff like that is really important. But they do bring out their own. Something like a Kindred Jungle is something that I see a
Yeah.
lot in Finland here. Something like, for example, maybe we put the Trundle up against the Zinzao. And that is so important because you create your own, you have your own theory crafting that actually makes you win games.
Yeah, it certainly does, and we do love watching Blue Whites, especially for me. Lastus and Poma, that mid jungle duo, always drafting to carry. There are so many supportive options that you can put kind of anywhere on the map, but these two, they just don't care. They don't want to see any of that nonsense. No, thank you.
No, no supportive, not even in like places like the top lane, where obviously top lane right now is important because of the carries. But all three of these teams are just saying, well, we're only going to be playing strong side top. Oh, yeah, we have a weak side Gangplank. And Gangplank is, yes, he's a weak side, kind of, but he's also an impressive laner. Sometimes you might see a Karma there top, but most of the time, think of strong top laners.
Yeah, we certainly will as we get straight into the pick and ban right here. Nyyrikki on the blue side, and my question to you, Exodus, is we've seen a lot of Xin Zhao out of Flipper. In fact, we've seen only Xin Zhao out of Flipper. When is this champion bannable? Everyone loves to let it through. When is it just time to take it away?
It's a really tricky question. So I would say Zinzao is always bannable, but I do see a lot of these teams here in Finland saying we're gonna leave it open because we have maybe found an answer alongside Trundle. Now I kind of see the Zinzao being first locked in as sort of a catch-22 because yes, I have the Zinzao, but you also might be losing against enemy team just picked Gwen Trash. That is
Yeah.
maybe even stronger than picking the Zinzao.
Yeah, and we saw Def Fox kind of pretty easily deal with it with the Trundle into that matchup. So it seems like the Xin Zhao, yes, he's played it 5 times, but no, Flipper has not won on it 5 times. So maybe it is time to just let it through. And as we take a look at what bans have in fact hit the table, we've seen two supports and the Aphelios from the Nyyrikki. The Aphelios, of course, quite a contested pick between these two players. Blue Whites taking off a load of other meta picks, and the Xin Zhao is left open. So there it
Immediately
is.
being locked in by Nyyrikki. I mean, no surprises there. The Zinzao, the Winzao at a certain point, even though that doesn't really correlate well into the stats at the moment, but it's something that is so strong. It is a jungler that does almost everything it needs to do in this meta, and Blue White's coming out with an Aurelia pick right from the get-go.
Yes, locking that one straight in. Aurelia, almost 100% presence in the playoffs right now. I believe only one game has not seen it picked or banned, and it's going to keep those stats going on right here. We'll have to see the hover right now. We'll see if he chooses to lock it in. But the Aurelia at least seems like a very strong flex between the mid and the top lane. But there is the Trundle. So I guess they've learned from Defox. They're going to try to pull out the same counter.
Yeah, they're doing exactly the same thing, which is not a bad thing to do. What I do like from Blue White is saying, okay, We are playing against a Xin Zhao. We have these two strong melee champions that we're already locking in. There might be flex potential even with the Trundle. I do really expect Trundle to go jungle, but he still might go top. It's always a thing you need to take account for. And with these melee champions, you can maybe combine it with some enchanter support, some healing supports as well. So Bluewhites really has options with these two lock-ins.
Yeah, another champion that really likes to be paired up with supportive picks in the mid and top is the Xin Zhao, but that's not going to be the way for Nyyrikki here. Their Wazen is on the mechanical carries once again with the Akali lock-in and Azator bringing back the Kalista. This ADC pick has rocketed to the top of the priority list of recent times.
It is mostly because AD carries now need a little bit too long or too much time to really get going. With Kalista, you can circumvent that by being a stronger AD carry on 2 items than most of the other AD carries are, also by maybe having a snowballing lane. Now, I was kind of surprised Bluewhites locking in the LeBlanc. It's a good pick, but something like a Twisted Fate would have also been a good pick, mostly because Twisted Fate has maybe even option to, I've seen it in Korea once or twice, where you have a Twisted Fate bot as a potential flex, but it is so out there. It is definitely the LeBlanc putting it up against the Akali.
Yeah, it is going to be the LeBlanc right there. We've seen Pomo do it before, and it's going to be a pretty skill-based matchup in the mid lane, I'm expecting, as we hit the second round of bans. Patoska being focused out by Bluewhites. A lot of a varied pools down there, but a lot of carry potential, I think we could say. Plus some interesting pocket picks as of late as well for this guy.
What I like about the LeBlanc, maybe more what I like about a potential TF counter against Akali, is with LeBlanc you have that blow-up potential. You have that assassination potential, which you might need against Azator's Kalista. Because when she gets online, hey, I have 2 items, okay, we can play around the Kalista, and then Pomo says no. Because I have my Ludens, I have maybe a Blasting Wand, so I can actually shut that down pretty easily when I get a flank off.
Yeah, so we have gone through the second round of bans here. It was Desrin being focused out by the Nyyrikki bans, the Samira and the Tristana going away with the Aphelios already lost. So he is going to actually have the last pick, interestingly. They don't leave it for Bad Pie. They make the set up nice and early for that top laner.
Yeah, and you still, I mean, with the set, such a good champion against a potential Kalista, because yes, Kalista ults somebody into you, set takes damage, charges up that Haymaker, ults them back, and then it's actually kind of the Uno reversal card you're playing there. And with the Sylas being paired with Nyyrikki, this is Nyyrikki saying, okay, we're really playing to our comfort here.
Yes, they certainly are. As the set, I think I misspoke before I said the set was going top lane. This is, of course, there's already an Aurelia, there's already a LeBlanc, so this is going to be a set support, and it's paired up with the final Vayne pick for Desrim, so it's still late game carry potential for this guy.
This is Blue-White saying we're going to be strong, we should be strong throughout most of our game, meaning we have early, we have mid, we have late. Something they do lack a little bit is engage. You don't really have a reliable engage. You have difficult to execute engage. With the Aurelia, yes, you can engage with her, but I mean, it's not something you want to be really hammering on. You also have the LeBlanc, you have the Trundle, but most importantly, the set. I'm looking at the set roaming, because normally with set, you want to roam as much as possible. Use level 3s with set, going with your jungler is really strong. But you have a Vayne in your lane against the Kalista or Khan, so she needs to be protected in that laning phase.
He really, really does. Big rewards later if you can get her there, but Azator is not going to be hanging around letting her do that. Abagnale is not going to be sitting watching them farm up. Dershim's going to have a big target on his back in this early game, but we do know that Blue-Whites love to be fighting all the time. That's one of the best things that we saw when we were looking at how they played against Nyyrikki last time. You know, they smashed game 1, sure, and they lost games 2 and 3, but they were always going down swinging. They were always looking for picks. They were always looking to fight it out, never giving up. And as you said, this is a comp that does have, you know, ability at all stages of the game to get scrappy as long as you're playing around the right member.
It's also, you also don't lack frontline, but what you do lack is very tankiness. Yeah, yes, you have an Aurelia, yes, you have a Trundle. Those are going to be fine. Set they are frontline, but they're frontline in the way that they are a threat and that they are numbers. They are just 3 people standing there, which are difficult to go behind. While if you have, let's say, for example, a Sylas and Xin and maybe even the Kalista, you can shred through that pretty efficiently with the Kalista as soon as you reach 3 items, because none of these teams are really going to build that heavily into the defensive stats.
Yeah, there's a lot of damage going both ways here. The teamfights are going to be messy, they're going to be bloody, and we're going to see who comes out on top right here. But we are still waiting for, we're obviously waiting for the spectators to tick down. So I'm going to ask you, Exodus, as you can see both times, we've touched quite a bit onto Bluewhites. Let's look at Nyyrikki and how their comp kind of fits together. You know, if Bluewhites lacks Engage, Nyyrikki, they do have, they've got the Rakan, they've got the Xin Zhao. Maybe they're a lot stronger in that regard.
Well, if you look at Nyyrikki, you can say, okay, this comp can actually split push. Well, no, because look at what Bluewhites has drafted. As in, yes, Silas might do well against LeBlanc, but most likely not. And Akali, you should not be able to split push against Irelia after a certain point. But what they can actually do is make sure, hey, we can go for these picks, for these faster rotations. And Akali is able to get onto that backline to maybe burst Desrim down. So what Nyyrikki has done is we have drafted a very heavy, very difficult to execute comp with that Akali and maybe that Silas Kalista. But when it works, we should be able to outburst them, make sure that we deny them from winning a team fight before it even begins.
Yes, it could just be all over in a snap as we are onto the Rift here for the first game. I believe we did have a short pause for Abagnale having a wee DC. Get it out of the way nice and early. That's what we love to see, and it wouldn't be square one without a little pause or two. But here we are with Bluewhites taking on Nyyrikki. This is the lower finals, and need I remind you, everybody, the winner of this series, they lock in their place at the Telia Masters.
Yeah, very important best of 3 here for both of these teams. I'm looking at the summers, and I already saw it in Champion Select. The bot lane from Bluewhites has opted for both. Yeah, has opted for 2 exhausts, meaning they do not want to get bursted. That's one thing. That's why I think the Vayne takes it, because as Vayne say, when Akali gets near me, I want to make sure that damage reduction is there. For the set, it's more when a frontliner like a Silas or a Xin Zhao gets near me, I need to make sure I don't die.
Yes, so the double down here really means that in those early scraps, you know, that there's not really any 2v2ing that should be going on here, right? Just a heal ignite combination versus a double exhaust where there's only really one good exhaustible target. Feels like Bluewhites' lane 2v2 is just even more troublesome than it was already going to be.
Yeah, this is playing extraordinarily safe with the double exhaust. So it also really signals that Bluewhites bot lane, either you need to babysit them from the start and be like, okay, you're a small little baby, I need to make sure you do not do anything that I don't give you any attention towards, or just say, we're going to wait until you're full grown up and move out of the house and make sure you're responsible on your own then.
Yes, we will see if Bluewhites can achieve that level of maturity in this game, or if they'll be smacked down by Nyyrikki before they can find it. But looking at the other 2 lanes, Pomo, he has followed Patoska up into the top lane. They really wanted this LeBlanc-Akali matchup.
I kind of agree, because LeBlanc really can stomp on Akali. So where you have the swap, it does kind of mean that you take away roaming potential from a LeBlanc, so that's a trade-off you are making. But shutting down the Akali, she did get nerfed a little bit more in the early game, means that with a LeBlanc, you can say your laning phase is going to be a disaster, especially in the top lane, because it's a longer lane. You should not be able to gank LeBlanc.
Yeah, it's really tough to make that one stick. And then looking towards the mid lane, so we now have Irelia versus Silas. We still have Bad Pie on the Irelia, but how does this matchup now change? Is Silas, he currently looks like he's getting pushed around on that wave, but we know Aurelia's pretty strong. Is this just happens to all champions now?
I mean, I guess so. It's Bad Pie on the Aurelia. It's something I was really looking forward to. But most importantly, it's as soon you can see it here already. You see Bad Pie moving away, knowing I can push this lane in. I am maybe a better dueler right now, even in the early game. Aurelia did receive some buffs or some changes, which results into buffs. So she's actually stronger now in that matchup. So Blue-White says our bot lane is already struggling. Our other 2 lanes are need to pick up the slack in the early game.
Yep, and that's exactly what they are playing to do right here. Currently, Flipper is on that bot side, so could try and punish mid or bot lane if they so choose, whereas Last is still farming away in that jungle. But both mid and top do have the small CS advantages for Bluewhites, and, you know, if we are expecting them to be scrappy, to be looking for fights, I guess, you know, potentially Bad Pie and Bomo, these are the early parts, you know, when you said they all, at every stage of the game, they have something to play around, they have something to fight around. We're going to be maybe looking towards mid and top and see what Lastis can make happen there.
Yeah, I'm also looking at this bot lane already. You can really see that Nyyrikki knows, okay, our bot lane should always have prio or can always take prio. So we'll make sure that our Xin Zhao, that Flipper is able to go into that jungle to push up vision, but a potential engage from the bot lane.
Oh, there's him taking a lot of damage, keeps both the summoners, but there's the ignite. I think he left it too late. Desm is surely gonna fall for first blood. Keeps the flash, but loses his life.
It's a little bit tricky. I think the Farm maybe could have fully committed on that. Remember, you are a set, so you are really strong in those early levels because the Hellbarbs from Azator and Abignale were so low. That being said, however, you are that Vayne set lane with that double exhaust, and Alfar needs to be careful because he's not taking a good trade here.
Yeah, tries to hold the wave, but is not going to get away with that one for free. Still going to crash into the tower, and it's going to be a decent lead for Azator down there. Abignale to pick up the kill. Bad Pie takes a fair amount of damage from Wazen as well, so it is really starting to get a little tense across the map.
Something I also want to say why the matchup in his mid lane is a bit better now for the Aurelia. Her W got changed where you used to only reduce physical damage. It got changed back to now also reduces magic damage. So she is very good against that Sylas when, you know, he uses his rotation of skills and he uses his passive stacks. Aurelia goes, yes, 35% nerf, so I might be fine.
Yes, Lastus is gonna he's gonna be spotted out on that ward, so they're gonna still know where this Trundle is. The jungle is still just kind of farming away. Haven't seen too much out of either of them just yet. But really, from Nyyrikki's standing point, we've talked about a lot about what Bluewhites wants to do, but you know, they've got the lead in bot lane. They're doing just kind of fine in the other lanes, and this is maybe exactly what they wanted to see.
Yeah, and with Lastus being spotted there, you kind of expect you can already see it a little bit of around Flipper's jungle pathing, that they want to fight this dragon, that they really want to take this dragon as fast as possible. Now Abignale is getting cut out.
Desrim looks to push and punish back that support, but cannot find the kill just yet. Of course, everyone's still pretty low level. Abignale will escape without too much trouble, but it is river control for Bluewhites at this point. Is Flipper, maybe he looks for more. He's got the Wind Becomes Lightning in with the charge. Bad Pie forced to flash away, and Deferan with a nice Facebreaker and Haymaker combo. Lastus flashes over the wall with TP's coming in. Bad Pie's already fallen, but here comes Desrim picking up the counter kill on Abignale, and now Flipper is in the lurch in the lane. The rest of Bluewhites swarming over him. It's a double for Desrim at the end of the fight.
And this is actually super bad for Nyyrikki because Bluewhites, now we have fed those 2 kills to Desrim. The one team member from Bluewhites that was or should be struggling, he's kind of cut up now. You also might be giving away the dragon, although I think Nyyrikki still wants to contest.
Yeah, they're not going to maybe let it give it up for free. Azator was not present in that mid lane fight, still has the summoners, still has plenty of power to bring to the table, as I think Bluewhites, they know this, they don't want to hang around too long. Flipper's on his way back. Nyyrikki might still pick this up.
I was almost thinking in that previous fight that Bluewhites was over-committing on the fight, but then I saw, hey, wait a minute, you have a Trundle, and that pillar is actually such a massive tool when Nyyrikki has 3 melee champions that do the damage. I mean, it's Zao, the Xylas, the Akali. So with that pillar, you're denying so much while you have a potential range advantage because you have because you have a LeBlanc and you had Vayne there.
Yes, it is surprising just how much impact that pillar can have. This can really make people like Azator's life very tricky, and we can maybe see the follow-up from Pomo to bring that to bear. Bad Pie is going to walk into Flipper, but doesn't want to take this as Wazen is already there, and is still holding on to a CS lead mid, but he did give the kill up. We've actually seen the straight into the Oblivion Orb for Wazen as well, trying to cut the healing nice and quickly.
Yeah, that's a really early Oblivion Orb. Those Grievous Runes might be the thing that does it, or Abignale gets out, but it is Bluewhites. I actually didn't expect Bluewhites to stall this dragon to so aggressively posture towards him and say, look, hey, this dragon, Nyyrikki, you maybe could have taken this, but the answer is just no, we don't want you.
Yeah, Desrim trying to get this wave in, but Flipper has arrived. He's got the Crescent Guard ready. Azator has the ultimate too. Desrim's got to be very careful. He gets away from the grand entrance, but he's taking so much damage already. Flashes to safety. Deferan can take a bit more damage, but does have the Haymaker. There it comes. Out comes the shield. Lastus is there to support. Azator still picks it up. And at the end of the day, Nyyrikki, they force through the killing bot.
And now you see the power coming out from the Kalista Recon lane. Even though Desrim had taken 2 kills, yes, I mean, look at his CS numbers, he's not in a great spot there. But it's just the engage from Abignale alongside with Azator being that early game or that aggressive laner with the Kalista. They can always zone out the Vayne, and Desrim needs so much protection that Nyyrikki knows, look, our bot lane is just a way to go. That is our engine into the mid game.
Yep, and there is the blue dragon picked up by Flipper as well. It's the first mountain on deck for them. Ocean to follow it up, so it will be an Infernal or a Cloud Soul as the game moves forward. And to be honest, maybe for Nyyrikki, who really wants to get scrappy, actually, to be honest, with Bluewhites as well, with so much damage both these
Oh
teams are
yeah.
bringing to bear, a little Infernal Rift wouldn't go amiss.
Now, a little Infernal Rift for both of these champions. As I said before, resistance-wise, we're not expecting Scion level or Ornn level of resistance coming out. So having that Infernal is going to be the difference between somebody escaping with 10 HP or somebody being obliterated at the get-go in the fight.
It could be, as Wazen now is going to get aggressed on by Defrin, walking into that mid lane, pulls him in with a face breaker, doesn't find the stun though. Desrim doesn't have the range to follow up. We haven't seen much out of Wazen so far, just been kind of farming it up, keeping quiet, waiting to unleash maybe later on.
So Bluewhites actually rotating faster than Nyyrikki here towards the top lane, and they have said, okay, so we're gonna keep Pomo in the top. We don't want to make that swap. We don't want to make that trade. We just want to have presence in this jungle, so we can maybe even start a fight.
Flipper wants the presence, and Lastus has nowhere to go. Instantly, 4 members of Nyyrikki come down on his head.
It's kind of what I was hinting towards before the fight started, before Flipper took the kill. You're being so aggressive and so fast with this rotation. Good, but can you put your money where your mouth is? If you're there, can you win the fight? And the answer is no, not if you're not coordinated enough, or if you just don't have that early game damage right now. And this will mean Nyyrikki just takes this Rift Herald, or should take it uncontested.
Yep, they are going to finish it off right here. Defrin, Pomo, and Desrim round the corner. As all the flash, but doesn't catch the Kalista with the chain either. And now they've missed that first engage, but Bluewhites, do they still want more? Desrim is on the front line. Defrin still here, but Wazen has rocked up with the Showstopper. Flashes in, Desrim's already down, and Lastus, he gets Showstoppered in, slams him down. Flipper and Wazen pick up 2 more.
How one flash can turn a team fight around. That was amazingly done because nobody was cut out. Meaning that, oh, okay, we commit on this engage and suddenly you're trapped in here with us. And then it becomes an entirely different story. Bad Pie also might be in a bit of trouble.
Always in the 1 versus 2 ways and didn't want to stop this play. But gets another stun, gets another Q, gets one. The perfect execution will find the trade, but Bad Pie making the best of a bad lot.
I think this is a trade that Nyyrikki is fine to take because, as you see, they've taken the first turret block at topside. Now, let's see what happens here. So Azator nearly flashes that pull. Then you have the return from Abignale. And then suddenly, Bluewhites is, okay, what do we do? Do we fight? Do we back? Well, neither. Because Flipper is there, Wazen flashes in, doesn't get a hook, but is able to steal the Showstopper. And then the fight is just over when that Showstopper is stolen by a Silas.
A little indecisive, as you say, from Bluewhites. Are they in? Are they out? They don't know, but Nyyrikki are happy to be in after that first flubbed engage. 3-0-3 for Azator now on the Kalista. Once again showing why he goes back to this pick again and again. And to be honest, as this is a series that's going to develop over potentially 3 games, I don't know if we'll be seeing this Kalista allowed for much more.
No, I think she's not, I was almost going to say struggling. That was definitely not the right word, but she is really on par right now. With the shield bow, it also means you have that healing in already in your kit. And with the Hail of Blades, you can just go into a fight. Those 3 auto attacks will get you that shield. They will give you that security where, oh my god, I have bursted somebody with those 3 auto attacks. So Nyyrikki knows, once again, playing around the bot side, but make sure Azator has a way of protection. So what I want to see is it paired up with Wazen and most definitely being paired up with Flipper continuously. I actually want to see a jungle bot duo roaming all over the map.
Yes, that has a lot of power to flex in these fights. As we can see now, a 4,000 gold lead for Nyyrikki. They've got a lot of power to leverage if they so choose. We do have the dragon coming up in just under 45 seconds as well, so they should be able to take this to this next objective fight. And to be honest, if I'm Bluewhites, I'm probably giving that up.
Yeah, I mean, most likely should be giving this one up. I don't really think Bluewhites is able to engage. Well, they're able to engage, but not successfully. Something that I am kind of fearful of is, okay, Bluewhites has a big goal deficit, and Nyyrikki only needs 1 play to really get their snowball going even harder. So Bluewhites, they need a way to stall this game, just slow it way down.
Yeah, Yeah, the fast pace is not doing them any favors right now. A lot of bodies on the bot side of the map here for this dragon spawn. Nyyrikki clearing out the vision. They are going to have control of the river, and it looks like Bluewhites, they are just conceding across the map. Homo's heading back top, Badpie picking up farm in mid lane. I think this is the right call.
Definitely, you take this drag and you put yourself that much closer to an Infernal Soul, which is going to, yeah, which is, as we said already, might be the difference in winning or losing a team fight, but also might be this dive.
Yeah, Flipper's gonna spot them though on the sweeper. Finds Lastus and Deferin in the tri-brush there, the little behind tower brush, as Desrim still picking up this farm. So Nyyrikki, they haven't been able to find a play in a little bit. Yes, they have picked up the dragon, but they haven't been able to find those fights that have really kept that lead building over the last 5 to 10 minutes.
This lead is now almost at 5k. This is a massive lead at 14 minutes. I mean, turret plates have just fallen, but look where the gold is divided. It is mostly divided, it is mostly put in towards Azator. So as we said, play around Azator, well done, Nyyrikki. Well, where else? Well, the Flipper. So maybe what you can try and do is with Flipper, I think Azator and Abignali are going to be fine on their own. You want Flipper to translate his lead into a lead for other members on his team. And I'm actually maybe looking toward Petoska. Sorry if I'm pronouncing some of these Scandinavian names wrong, but Petoska, he really needs a lead because he will be struggling against Pomo or even against Badpie.
Desrim went for an aggressive play there, and Wazen's round the side isn't choosing to go for the full committal. They don't want to throw anything away on a crazy fight just yet. Both exhausts are up for Desrim and Deferin, so they could actually maybe deal with that pretty well.
And also with Flipper having taken up the Gore Drinker, he survived a little bit longer in fights. That's one of the advantages he have right now with Gore Drinker. Yes, it's not the Gore Drinker we saw in the beginning of the season. Thank everybody for that. But if you're up against 3 melees, hey, all of a sudden I heal so much more. So Gore Drinker actually is maybe a better option than anything else.
I think so. Desrim now shifted into the mid lane, and Badpie and Petoska back into their 1v1 in the bot lane, but Azator diving forward forces the flash from Lastus. Oh, the catch onto Desrim! And it's just as easy as that. No way out.
And this is what I kind of talked before, where Nyyrikki now is an option to win a fight before it even begins. You saw Azator landing the 3 auto attacks. Oh, Petoska might be in trouble.
The Shuriken doesn't land, Badpie flashes away, both low, but Wazen quick to rotate. We've seen this 2v1 on bot lane before, and Badpie was able to make it a trade that time. Let's see if he can make something out of it once again. Instead, choosing to go behind the tower. Trying to, maybe could get the execute if you go straight for it, but they might not even bother chasing.
I think executing here is not the best way to go, because you really need tempo, you really need to make a play.
Yeah, Badpie has been spotted out, and Wazen now chasing him down. Has the showstopper stolen once again, but a lot of distance to cover. Badpie tries to pivot, goes around the corner, builds up the passive. If he wants to take this 1v1, needs as many stacks as possible. In comes the ultimate from Wazen. There's the heal, there's the stun, but it's not enough. Wazen will still take it down.
Even though Badpie died there, he bought so much time for his team. Bluewhites was not really able to do anything more. Look at where this Herald is being put down. Sorry. Oh, wow. I thought this Herald was being put down there. My mistake. It was just Shirley being, hey, this is... Yeah, this is just still my part of the river for now. But what Badpie did there was, I brought so much time. Yes, we lost both of these mid lane turrets. Kind of disastrous, but we didn't lose anything more. The gold lead has grown, but it's not at a point where you can say this game is completely over. Remember, Blue-White scales extraordinarily well into this late game.
Certainly do. Pomo with plenty of stretch to go, though. We haven't seen too much out of LeBlanc. Only finished the Ludens pretty recently, actually. Was fairly slow on that first item. Just hasn't really been able to get much of a snowball going, as they seem like they're just constantly pushed into the sideways. You know, there's no aggressive plays being made, and we were talking about what LeBlanc can do to people like Azator. It can be super punishing, but there has to be a setup to allow that to happen in the first place.
And that setup is kind of the engage that Nyyrikki has, because Nyyrikki does have more reliable engage than Blue-Whites. We talked about this in the pick and ban, and Blue-Whites is also struggling, because if you don't have engage, you also don't have counter engage, or you have nothing to really deter your opponent from maybe going for a turret dive, or maybe from posturing that aggressively. Once again, I refer you to where Azator was just, oh, 3 auto attacks on Badpie, or 3 auto attacks on Desrim. Desrim, get out, reset. Now we have numbers advantage.
Yeah, it does seem just that simple. 2 items has been completed with Azator, and as he said, basically the strongest 2-item ADC on the patch right now, really showing us why, as Desrim still struggling to finish the first.
Yeah, and it's not only Desrim that's struggling in this build. Look at Bad Spy. He's both building Magic Resist and Grievous Wounds at the same time. He does have that Bladed Ruined King, which is very good on Aurelia as a first item. But still, none of these builds are... They don't show me a narrative yet. They don't show me a picture yet. Besides maybe a dive top side.
Lastus trying to punish Waze and has the Herald down there with 2 more members supporting, but it might be tough to actually get the kill sewn up onto this Silas. The healing is there, the flash comes out, Defrin trying to find it, but in comes Abagnale with the stun back and Waze and finds a kill. Bad Pie is there, but the tower will keep them safe. They've managed to pick up top, and it looks like they'll get a second charge as well. But Wazen still finds the kill on the backside. Azator and Flipper are rotating up through the river. They're going to cut them off here. It's very tough. Abagnale does not have the ult, but he has the flash pulled in by Azator. There's the knock-up, and there's the grand entrance. There's another kill for the Nyyrikki side.
Oh, and this is so good for Nyyrikki because not only, yes, they lost some standing gold with the top lane third being down, but they got not only 1 but 2 kills back, and now they have a good window to make the map theirs. I'm expecting them to put vision along this top side. There we go, immediately as I say it. So it means Nyyrikki has actually more control over the top side, meaning more control over a potential early Baron.
It certainly does, and with the Kalista Baron confirmation, this could go down pretty quickly. And I mean, someone that, for me, has just been kind of stacking up so much power that had a bit of a quiet early game. Wazen was just sitting back in the lane, as we said, keeping up in CS, watching it all unfold. Dude's 5-1-3 right now. Yes, he's down in CS, but with that much kill participation, it does not matter. The Silas is becoming a force on the Rift.
And it's a force that right now I think can match Bad Pie. As I told you before, Bad Pie, he is stronger. The Aurelia Silas matchup is favored for Aurelia, but with the way these builds are going, I'm not sure of that as of right now. I really think Bad Pie will be struggling in 3v1. He comes the engage from Nyyrikki.
Abagnale catches 3 once again. Lastus and Defrin on the front line, but Wazen's already in. Haymaker comes out, drags him back, and now they're just running rampant over the side of Bluewhites. They cannot find anything. Nyyrikki themselves pick up 3, and here's the early Baron we mentioned.
Ah, Nyyrikki, they played it so well with the counter showstopper. Only Bad Pie remaining, but I don't think he'll be able to do a lot with his ways, and this is quite loaded. But if they take this Baron, Blue-White should be dead in the water for this first game.
Bad Pie comes back out, throws down the Vanguard's edge to force the stasis out of Abagnale, and Patoska is there over the wall. They will get the kill onto the support, so, you know, the BM does at least take 1 Baron buff off, but it's a small consolation prize.
It's definitely a small consolation because it's literally the only member alongside Nyyrikki who didn't have a bounty worth mentioning. I don't think Abagnale had a bounty. I'm not 100% sure anymore, but it does mean, okay, you took down Abagnale. Great, but you're now playing against this Baron buff where Nyyrikki is on soul point and might actually take up this Infernal Soul in 2 minutes. So Blue-Whites, they're definitely struggling. Look at how this team fight went. It's a beautiful engage from Abagnale, out of vision range. They immediately make sure that Lastus also is in trouble, and then the counter showstopper. This fight was done and dusted already when the counter showstopper came out.
Bluewhites trying to make a play. They've got the stun onto Flipper. They're inside the Crescent Guard, but look at the damage and the healing. It takes them so long to get the job done, but a shutdown will be grabbed by Desert.
I like to see this done by Blue-White. So they say, okay, we are going to react faster and we're going to hit harder in small places, making sure where we say we just fully commit on this play, we kill Flipper. So this is our way of crawling back into the game, getting these picks off. Great, keep please doing it. If you do this 4 more times and it succeeds, obviously, then you might actually crawl back into this game.
What a great pillar by Lastus, completely stymieing out the quickness from Abagnale and allowing Blue-Whites to get away. They got the TP for Patoska as well, and Desrim behind enemy lines got the recall off. So that could have been a big counter disaster for Blue-Whites, but they just get the kill in the end. They get out, they get some shutdown onto Desrim, who's got 2 items now. With the Dragon coming up in a minute, that's an Infernal Soul point for Nyyrikki. You have to have all hands on deck.
So there is good news and bad news for Blue-Whites. With the play they made bot side, they kind of stalled the Baron buff, which is good because it means you don't lose too many towers, you don't lose inhibitor turrets right now. The bad news is the soul is coming up in 40 seconds. So I don't know if Blue White will be able to contest. Is it the trade-off you want to make?
Yeah, Lassus is deep on the front lines right here in the 1 versus 3. No support from his team. What's he doing there? He goes down to Batoska. Now your jungler's dead for the dragon. That's the worst member to lose.
Time to troll was definitely a thing there. I'm joking, obviously. Don't get mad. It's just a joke. But Lassus being killed there is so bad for Bluewhites because now Nyyrikki has more free range over this mid lane.
Azator finds Bad Pie, but maybe he found Azator. Gets him in. There's the shutdown onto Kalista. Bad Pie finds another. He finds a triple. Shutdowns all over the place. And all of a sudden, Bluewhites, they find the kill. Can they maybe stop the dragon?
Well, they need to really hurry there. It is a race towards the dragon. I don't think these two people will be able to contest it. It is half HP.
They won't have the ignite. There's the stun onto Flipper. If they can get Smite off the table, it's doable. Here it comes down. The Smite's already there. Blue team takes it. Flipper still finds the objective. Batoska is in and out and all around. Finds 2 kills on the Akali. I feel like he's not going to find too much more. But man, Nyyrikki clutched it out in the end. They get the soul, but it was not cleanly done.
No, that is very much the case. It was not cleanly done, but I can see a turnaround in this game for Blue-Whites. Look at Pomo. Look at Pomo. So he's still 1 and 2. Sure, but first, like, take a look at this replay. So Azator, he does a lot of damage at Bad Pie, but you're engaging against your Irelia, so this damage will come through. The damage reduction on Bad Pie is kind of his saving grace there. And then suddenly, you have a great engage from the far end. You get that one shot down there. Now the resets come through, the healing comes through, and all of a sudden, Bad Pie has 3 kills. This is amazing for Blue-Whites because right now the 6k gold lead, it will mean less. And then with this dragon, I don't know why this smite came out so early. Maybe just to make sure Flipper survived. It was definitely a do or die move. And then Patoshka, he gets the 1 kill, goes back in, trying to get the farm down. Pomo playing with fire, the fact that he stayed and especially jumped back into the pit. Look at that health bar. It should not be that low. 1 shuriken Q and Pomo was dead.
Yep, Nyyrikki though want to try and maybe find a counter punch here. They're into the top side jungle and they did get the soul at the end of it. If they weren't able to find that, I would really start to feel like Blue-Whites had the comeback on the table here, but as it is, they've got a lot of extra damage to contend with right now. They did stop that gold lead growing quite as fast. They kept it back down to around the 6k mark. I think Bad Pie himself actually got something like 2,000 gold in that top lane fight. It was a 1,000 gold shutdown,
Oh, yeah.
800 gold shutdown, and another kill. It was massive, and look at his gold lead over Wazen now. It's just insane.
Yeah, he's almost catching up with Azator, which is insane if you can see Azator's KDA and especially his CS. Meaning that Blue-Whites, the fact that they didn't lose an inhibitor turret just yet, they have a way to defend themselves. And this, as you said, they lost the soul. Oh, not amazing, but they're in a spot where their team is clawing back because they got so much shutdown gold, and if they can win if they yet again can win a fight, the Elder Dragon is something they might be looking forward to as a possible win condition.
Certainly is right now. We can see the items starting to come through here for them now. Bad Pie's got the Gore Drinker and the Wit's End. We see almost the Rabadon's completed for Pomo. If they can keep themselves above water, they might be able to find a win in this game. But in comes Abagnale. They've got the engage. Oh my word, Pomo has already died. Defrin is trying to buy some time in the back lines, but Azator finds the kill onto Set. And with 2 members from Blue-Whites down, there's only so much Bad Pie can do. He finds 1, but that will be it. And Lastis in full retreat. Nyyrikki, they don't let the pace up and they get the game right back in their grasp.
It is not only a good engagement, you can also see the power from that Infernal Soul there, the AoE and the extra damage you bring to the table in a team fight, especially when you're up against melees. Lastis needs to be careful. Wazen really wants this kill, probably not going to get it, but because you have 3 melees on the side of Bad Pie, you're clumped up at a certain point, and then those Infernal procs they are paying their dividends through the roof because 1 Infernal proc, all you damage 3 people, repeat that 3 times.
Yeah, we're gonna see the explosions raining down here. Desum didn't even get a look in this fight.
No, so they're going. So first of all, they can kind of see. I think they just spotted Bat by going for a recall, knowing we might look for an engage. Flipper gets it with the lightning becomes wind, dashes in, and then look at Abagnale here. Make sure they create so much chaos, immediately blowing up Pomo. And from here on out, the fight is not won because Bad Pie goes in, but he's not able to deal with it. It's once again Abagnale with those CC chains that keep on coming out. Bad Pie can't do anything on his own because Lastis was just zoned out. So Nyyrikki knows how to play these fights.
Certainly do, and Patoska's zoning out Dersham as well there. That's something that you specifically mentioned, you know, something that this Akali can do, something that the comp that Nyyrikki has drafted can do is really just keep Desrim down. There's nowhere safe for him to stand and can't bring any of this Bane damage to bear, even though the items are starting to come through. Now, Baron Wave pushing up at the mid lane. We have seen this position for Nyyrikki as Abagnale gets pushed into stasis, but will battle dance to safety without too much trouble.
Now it is a powder keg waiting to explode because one or two things might happen. Either Nyyrikki wins a fight and then win the game, or Bluewhites wins a fight, stalls the game, and maybe goes for an Elder Dragon win condition. So Bluewhites, they are in a very, very tight window.
Abagnale with the quickness comes in, finds the charm onto Desrim once again, but doesn't get the kill. Defrin gets a massive stun on the front line, and Pomo trying to push them back. Flipper gets into Defrin, but surely will be traded back by Lastis. Azator finds the knockup, and Desrim's down. Bad Pie has already fallen in bot lane, and I think that's all Nyyrikki needed. They've got 3 members down. They've got Baron Waves in the mid lane, and they're looking to make this series go the same way as last time.
Nyyrikki beautifully played. They know how to win these fights. They know how to play the map efficiently, and they know how to play the fights efficiently. They get this first game, and they are 1 win removed from going to the Talia Masters.
They are so very close right now. Bluewhites, as we saw, they just never give up. You can never count this team out, but Nyyrikki, they drafted so well for their players, and they just executed on their win conditions so well. You know, they got the bot lane lead they needed. They didn't lose too much in the lanes that were behind, and Flipper, at the end of the day, still making great use out of the Xin Zhao to push them through the mid game. It really shows us why Nyyrikki would be considered to be the heir apparent of the Finnish leagues, and I think that they are making a bit of a statement here today.
Nyyrikki also, I really like their draft a bit more than Bluewhites because Bluewhites, yes, you had Urella, which which I really adored. You flexed the LeBlanc topside, but the downside from that is, as we said, I think minute 1 in the game, you don't have a potential, you don't have roaming potential from that LeBlanc, meaning your struggling bot lane is already struggling more, and Nyyrikki capitalized on that so massively that your Kalista is too much ahead in the early and mid game.
Yeah, there's just nothing they could do at the end. Bad Pie made a dang good go of it, but it was too much to overcome. Nyyrikki taking the first game over Bluewhites, bringing the series to 1-1. 1 game away from the Telia Masters promotion and a rematch against Def Fox, but we'll have to see if Bluewhites can fight their way back into this one. We're going to go to a short break right now. We'll see you in a few minutes.